Hello, guys, gals, and non-binary pals. It is your host, Michaela Reed, and I'd like to thank you for stepping into the chocolate box. So today, our title is All Black Lives Matter. I know, crazy, right? And I am speaking with some of the most beautiful panelists. Panelists, smile and wave, y'all. Smile and wave. Give them y'all. Yes. So, the first question for tonight is, where is the flaw in the phrase Black Lives Matter when it comes to the Black community? Whoever want to go first, y'all go ahead, jump in that thing.
So, I've touched on this in like other episodes. I really am just gonna die on this hill, I guess, because it's like I don't see any other way. But like for me personally, the flaw in Black Lives Matter is that it's not all inclusive. Like they, like yes, it's like this big deal happening right now. Obviously, we don't want to be killed, but the movement. I can't say the movement because there's still certain people who are like advocating completely, but there are people who are forgetting that when it comes to Black lives, we still have LGBT Black lives. We have like, people who are also just stuck on that spectrum, and they're like, we got the mixed kids. There's parts of the community that we're forgetting. I feel.
Definitely. Come on now. Just land on the table, boys. Come on now.
I mean, like, it's just because, we still got, like, internalized homophobia within families, and then we've got all these different reasons that people are still being excluded from Black Lives Matter. It's like, if it's going to be a movement like that, I feel like it should be completely representatory. Like, everybody has to be included.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for me, I kind of take it a little bit different. I was thinking about like non-black people, but who are still kind of black, like our Latinx community,
Yeah.
who at certain times could be like who could be like white passing, so they try to act like they're not black and pretend like they're not black, but like sis, you're still black.
Right.
But I definitely understand your point. There's a big gap and divide in the black community when it comes to talking about the LGBT community and talking about like toxic masculinity and like internalized homophobia and stuff like that, and things that like just people don't consider like the norm or like the status quo and everybody want to follow. But it's 2020. People need to change, and if we're gonna talk about all Black Lives Matter, we're gonna talk about it and we're gonna discuss it. We're gonna support each other, because if one leg falls, we can't all stand. You get what I mean? We
Mm-hmm.
have to be a driving force. We can't be sitting here talking about Black Lives Matter, but then we're not talking about gay people as well. So it's a part of the conversation, and you have to have the conversation. You have to be true about it, and you have to respect it. And like my thing is, especially when I forgot who it was, but there was when in Tallahassee with the whole police brutality and everything in Tallahassee with the trans man who was like brutalized, and everybody was
Mm-hmm.
like not paying so much attention to it, and it was like, that's a life, that's a human being, that's a person. Why are we not talking about this? Why is he or she, excuse me, why is he not getting as much media coverage as everybody else, just
Mm-hmm.
because he's different? But that's like he still has family, he's still a person, he still had like the blood running through their veins just like every other person. So yeah, that's my spiel.
Yeah, I think for me, there's a difference between the phrase and who's actually embodying the phrase. So I don't think there's a problem with the phrase. It's the people who don't know the history, one, of the movement, and two, I think the movement has been hijacked.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people come out of this real catchy phrase. They have a lot of blue check marks
Yeah.
talking about Black Lives Matter, and they're getting paid the millions and billions of dollars to sit on these panels and talk to white people about why they should care about us. And the gag is they don't. And if they did, they would be about it and wouldn't just talk about it. So I think that is one of the key things I'm witnessing, is that people take this opportunity to become celebrities and not
Mm-hmm.
understanding the real work that has been organized around this phrase. I also think, again, like the erasure of LGBTQ, different abilities, all these things that actually encompasses the very people that are being targeted by the state. I mean, I think you were touching, I believe her name was Alex or Ali,
Allie. Mhm.
Ali before was talking about Tony McDade, if I'm not mistaken,
Yep.
right? But also thinking about all the other LGBTQIs the names we know and we don't know, and that are often left out by the superstars that have come from this movement. Because let's be honest, I think one of the most frustrating things about this time has been watching people who would never talk about this otherwise. All of a sudden,
Mm-hmm.
it's beautifully curated on their social feed. They're turning to celebrities who don't even use their art to portray that type of radical message that they're now posting out. And I think the biggest issue is that when we talk about all Black lives, I think people are forgetting a lot of the global happenings. And I'm not saying, we are blind to it, but I think also we need to understand that Black Lives Matter has always been a global movement, whether
Mm-hmm.
it was highly publicized or not. And I think we shouldn't look to the media to sensationalize things because that's really what happened. Like, they didn't start talking about uh, George Floyd until we made them talk about George
Yep.
Floyd. And when I say we, I believe the people who are perpetuating this collective consciousness that not all of us individually may agree with. And so I think that's something we need to be careful of when we talk about, where this movement is going and who we want to know and who we're calling in, because it's not going to be the white people at the top. It's going to be the people we're looking around at. And if your peers don't reflect
Mm-hmm.
this message of all Black Lives Matter, then that's where we really need to start, because it's all going to come from revolutionizing here first.
Mm-hmm.
Chris, Crystal, you brought an amazing point. Can we talk about the fact that these celebrities that everybody's looking to and piggybacking off of to be like, oh, what are you gonna say? What are you gonna do? Especially like in recent media with Beyonce and the NSARS, like I was watching her mother's response to what she's like the relation and she was like, oh, like you guys forget, like my daughter, even though she's a celebrity, my daughter is a person. She is not like she's not your president. Like, why are you guys looking to her as if she's your god to be speaking for you guys? If you guys want to do something, like why do I have to like why do I have to stop? Why do I have to vocalize to social media to prove to you guys like what I'm
Mm-hmm.
doing? And I think that a lot of times like sometimes like I was saying like I speak to my family, like just because what people do, their activism isn't public, they think it's like
Mm-hmm.
it's not activism. Like just because I'm not doing stuff for the world to see doesn't mean I'm not doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still working in the shadows, and I think people forget that because we live in such like everything's so glamorized, everything's for social media. Everybody want to put stuff
It's
for clout, and it's
performative.
like
It's
it's
very
It's
performative,
performative.
performative
and like
activism.
and like it's like my life is not a performance. Like my life
Yep.
is like I'm a human being. Like people like me myself included. Like people have internalized fear about walking around to go outside to go to the grocery shop to do laundry. Like what are you talking about? Like I'm not posting this hashtag because it's a joke. I'm posting this hashtag because it's real out here in these streets. And like I could literally like anybody in my family,
I
I
could
could
die.
walk outside and I could die. Like these are lives being taken.
And I know
So.
for
Mm,
me on that tip, I have, I don't want to say so much anger built up about it,
What is
but
going on?
people who sit there and say, okay, well, Beyonce should be saying something, right? Beyonce should be saying something.
mm-hmm,
All you do is post flyers, right? And that's where my issue comes from. People who are out here trying to pushing celebrities to advocate, pushing, like I saw a post that said, oh well, why did XYZ give only $3,000? What? You can't control what this. I don't care if we see their network is $6 billion. You can't
mm-hmm.
control how much somebody decides to donate. And with me,
No,
as
for real.
donation becomes publicized, it's not out of
Mm-hmm.
the kindness of your
It's
heart.
up their heart. Mm-hmm. Like who are you to dictate like what somebody regardless of whatever this, even if they give $1, somebody went into their pocket and gave out, they didn't have to do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? Like they don't, like that's the thing. And I feel like just because like it's like that's the thing that aggravates me. It's like, oh my god, you're worth so much money, why are you, like, you're Beyonce, like why are you not giving billions? Like that's not your business. Like like her check is her check. What she wants to do with it, and her bag, whatever she decides to do it, is what she decides to do with it. Like if I'm giving out the side of my heart. I'm not doing stuff. I'm not doing something for publicity stuff to be like, oh, like look at me, like oh, like here's the so I can get like this not a photo op. You
Yeah.
feel me? And I think that this where the perspective has changed because everybody's trying to do stuff and post like you said, Michaela, like post flyers and oh my god, like first of all. I love and what bothers me the most is the people who sit here and do all this stuff. But yet, when we were having protests for George Floyd, you wasn't stepping outside your house.
Or not even
You
a
wasn't saying anything.
protest. When we have conversations with white
Like for
people.
real, like why are you afraid? Like first of all, or even like thank you. Exactly what I was gonna say. Like these people love to brand like oh Black Lives Matter like all this stuff, but yet you're not having a simple conversation with the people who are in your circle, with the people who don't look like you. They're not opening conversations or having conversations and to be like oh like why do you think this way? Like the other day, I had a friend who I didn't know who I've known for a long time from high school who turned out to be a Trump supporter, and then I was like, and I actually had to sit down and be like oh. Like, why do you think this way? Like, like, what about him is appealing to you? And we had a very
Mm-hmm.
honest conversation. And she didn't change my perspective, but she changed how I looked at it. Because I was like, oh, but it wasn't a negative. But people are not willing to have that conversation nowadays.
Yes, I 100% agree with that, Donovan. I know that you haven't gotten the chance to discuss what you thought the phrase, what's wrong with this phrase, even though we didn't went in on that because I'm really hot about this topic about having conversation, people who have conversations with white people who back down. So go ahead and tell us what you think is wrong with the phrase in the Black community.
I actually disagree with the idea that there's something wrong with the phrase with Black Lives Matter. I think that the phrase actually, yeah, it's perfect. It's perfect. It's simple,
Mm-hmm.
it's point, and it reaches and it has such a far reach. I think it's more. I think the what's quote unquote wrong with the phrase depends on the individual who is processing the phrase. So in the sense that individuals in the Black community, they think yes, we all can agree Black Lives Matter, but a lot of us are more so into the idea that the Black lives we accept matter. So the Black lives that
Come
we
on now.
are
Black with terms and conditions.
the Black lives that we have accepted or have even been taught should matter. So that's where like that's where we get such a lack of critical discussion, just understanding of Black LGBTQ plus folk. That's where that's where we are. That's where when we actually have to, or rather, people who think that all Black lives matter, or more so like they're in the idea that only Black lives we accept matter. That's where we get That's where we get the Black man, or even sometimes the Black woman who shun Black women who are either darker skin or who express themselves in a particular way. That's where we get
That'll be preaching, huh? Come
that's
on, Pastor. You gotta speak a word.
That's why he got his suit on. Talk to us.
But yeah,
Don't have me church hopping this chat.
yeah, that's where we have these sort of like, and that's even where we have black where we have Black people who just disagree with the idea of Black Lives Matter because they have been taught by a particular audience. It's not even just a white audience. It could be their own parents who just completely disagree with how the idea how movement is portraying itself, how it's considered too radical or non-American. One, we get a little bit off topic before I go back to the main point. The most American thing that somebody can do is stand up and topple an oppressive regime, because that's how this country was founded. We toppled Britain and were able to start our own government. Wasn't perfect at all. Wasn't even close to perfect. Wasn't even, arguably not even close to excellent.
Well, we didn't do that. The white people did that, but
Right, sis. Right. Sis. Right.
I mean, we were in the war, but I'm saying
We were the
we
biggest
was in the
components.
war, but like
Yeah,
we
They
was in
were
the
set on our
war,
back, but yeah.
Yeah, we were in the war. Yeah, we were in the war, but
wasn't.
we didn't get to reap the benefits of the war,
Mm-hmm.
or rather,
Mm-hmm.
not all of us got to reap the benefits.
You get justice for all.
Even then, like just quickly get off that before I go back. but even like as I learned in history class, like how even like Northerners decided like, okay, like yeah, this idea of like liberty and justice for all and freedom for everybody, just freedom of speech and freedom to do all these things, and we have these people in chains, like we don't want to do this anymore. Even then, even when the northern states in like the early 1800s decided to just like, okay, you guys can be your own free people, there is still some sort of like wall that caused them from being completely accepting black people. Now going back to my main topic, just like how we more so take this as sort of like a only black lives we accept matter. We are basically doing the same thing that our own oppressors have done in the past by just like we're going to give them maybe crumbs or maybe even like a piece of the pie, but we're not going to give them the full pie that we wanted to serve to everybody. And on to the idea of black elites, because I'm just basically some like black celeb class, the black elite class, they have a limit. Black celebrities and black elites, this can be ranging from 50 Cent to even Oprah. I know people don't like talking about Oprah, but she ain't perfect neither.
First of all, let's not get
I
into
ain't I'm just gonna put it out there.
I love that she's the queen that everybody thinks she how to be.
Right. But yeah, even then, like I said, like black elites, they can help. I'm not saying that black elites can't help. They can help. In fact, they're probably a way for change and for true justice and true acceptance of all black people to happen. For having
They're closer to the table than we are.
yeah, for having famous black people like push these like discussions. Like, but at the same time, these are millionaires and billionaires and maybe even a trillionaire. At the same time, they're not going to push everything. They have a limit to how much they're willing to help out because at the end of the day, they still want to keep their millions and millions of dollars. That's why I'm not too surprised. That's why it's surprising, but it's not too surprising that 50 Ice Cube and Lil Wayne support Trump because they
hold
can
on,
only help us
wait,
out.
we can't unwrap that yet. We gonna unwrap that. Hold up, wait, pause.
Or Kanye. Let's talk about it.
Pause. Hold on real quick. Hold on quick. I know y'all know that it's getting heated in this kitchen right here. All the people watching. So we gonna real quick take a tiny little break. We're gonna go to commercial real quick and we're gonna come back. Donovan about to open it up for y'all.